It hurts when the phone calls get shorter, doesn't it? Or when you offer a piece of advice, maybe something you learned the hard way over decades, and you see that look, that flicker of dismissal in your child's eyes, or you hear the sigh on the other end of the line. It feels like the connection has shifted, like the respect you once shared has faded or maybe even vanished altogether. You remember the days they hung on your every word, looked up to you, needed you for everything. Now, they're adults, living their own lives, and sometimes it feels like you're just in the way, like your opinions don't matter anymore. Or worse, that they actively avoid them. This distance, this feeling of being sidelined, it aches deep down. You want that warm connection back, that sense of being valued, not just tolerated. But how do you even begin to bridge that gap when things feel so different? There is a way, a path to rebuilding that understanding and, yes, regaining their respect. It's not about demanding it. It's about earning it anew in this different stage of life. In this video, we're going to explore 5 powerful steps you can take, starting right now, to transform these relationships and bring back that mutual respect. Stick around and watch to the very end, because there's something coming that might just surprise you about the most effective step of all. Let's dive straight into that first powerful step. And it might not be what you expect. It's about looking inward. Yes, before you even think about what your children are or aren't doing. The first crucial move is to honestly and gently examine your own attitudes, expectations, and behaviors. Think about how you show up in interactions with them. Are you quick to criticize? Do you offer unsolicited advice constantly? Do you perhaps unintentionally make them feel guilty or inadequate? Are your conversations often focused on complaining or dwelling on the past? It's tough to hear, I know, but sometimes, without even realizing it, the way we communicate can inadvertently push people away or create a dynamic where they feel the need to protect themselves from judgment or control. We carry patterns from the way we parented when they were young, when our role was necessarily more directive. But they aren't children anymore. They are adults with their own experiences, their own struggles, their own ways of doing things. What felt like caring guidance then can feel like nagging or disapproval now. Taking a step back and observing your own patterns is incredibly brave and incredibly necessary. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about gaining awareness. Awareness is the first step towards change. How do you do this? Start by just listening to yourself. Next time you're talking to one of your children, or even thinking about them, pay attention to the thoughts that pop into your head and the words that come out of your mouth. Are they mostly positive and encouraging? Or are they laced with worries, critiques, or comparisons? Are you genuinely listening? Or are you waiting for your turn to speak? Perhaps to correct them or tell them what they should do. You could even try journaling after a conversation, jotting down how you felt and what you think went well or perhaps didn't. It's like holding up a mirror. It takes courage, but it's where your power lies. You can't change them, but you can absolutely change yourself and how you engage. This introspection helps you understand the dynamic from your side. Are you still treating them like they're 16? Are you respecting their adult choices, even if they aren't the choices you would make? This self-awareness is the foundation because it shifts the focus from "they need to change" to "how can I approach this differently?" And sometimes, just this shift in your energy, in your perspective, can start to change the dynamic in subtle but significant ways. People respond to different energy. If you approach them with openness and curiosity, rather than implicit judgment or expectation, they are much more likely to open up in return. It's about recognizing that the parent-child relationship evolves, and our role must evolve with it. We transition from being the primary authority figure to becoming more of a trusted advisor or simply a supportive presence, if that support is welcomed. This doesn't mean you lose your wisdom or your identity. It means you adapt how you share it. Perhaps you offer it gently, only when asked, or share it in the form of a personal story rather than a directive. This internal work is ongoing, and it's challenging, but it is fundamentally the most important first step. It allows you to approach the relationship from a place of intentionality rather than just reacting out of old habits or hurt feelings. When you understand your own triggers and tendencies, you can choose to respond differently, to break old patterns. And that leads beautifully into the second powerful move, which is all about establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries. Now, let's talk about boundaries, which is the second powerful move you can make, and it's closely linked to that inner work we just discussed. For many parents, especially as children become adults, the concept of boundaries can feel counterintuitive. After all, your family, right? Doesn't family mean always being there, always helping, always being available? Well, yes and no. Healthy relationships, including family ones, require clear lines. Boundaries aren't about building walls to keep people out. They're about creating a healthy structure that protects your own well-being and, importantly, teaches others how to treat you. And this goes both ways. It's about setting boundaries for yourself in relation to them, and also kindly, but firmly, establishing boundaries regarding how they treat or interact with you. Think about it. If you are always the rescuer, always available at a moment's notice, always solving their problems, what does that teach them? It might teach them that you don't have your own life, that your time isn't valuable, or that they don't need to be fully responsible for themselves because you'll always swoop in. This doesn't foster respect. It can sometimes breed dependence or, conversely, resentment if they feel your help comes with strings attached or judgment. Setting boundaries could mean deciding not to answer the phone every single time it rings, especially if calls are often draining or demanding. It could mean saying no to a request for money if it's enabling irresponsible behavior, even if it feels incredibly difficult. It could mean establishing specific times for visits or calls, rather than having them drop by unannounced or call at all hours with non-emergencies. It could also mean limiting conversations that are consistently negative, critical, or argumentative. You have the right to protect your peace. This isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. And it's a demonstration of self-respect. And when you respect yourself, you teach others to respect you too. How do you actually implement boundaries? It often starts with a clear, calm conversation, or sometimes just by changing your own behavior consistently. You might say something like, "I love hearing from you, but my quiet time is in the evenings, so let's plan to chat during the day." Or, "I can help you with that, but I'm not available until next week because I have prior commitments." Or, "I understand you're frustrated, but I'm not comfortable being spoken to that way. We can continue this conversation when things are calmer." The key is to be clear, concise, and consistent. Don't over-explain or apologize excessively. State your boundary and then stick to it. This is often the hardest part, especially if your children are used to a different dynamic. They might push back. They might complain. They might even try to make you feel guilty. This is where the inner work from step 1 comes in. You need to be firm in your conviction that you are doing this for the health of the relationship, including your own health. Remember, you taught them boundaries when they were young. Don't touch the hot stove. Look both ways before crossing the street. Be home by curfew. This is simply applying that same principle in an adult context. Healthy boundaries in adult family relationships create space for everyone to thrive independently. They prevent burnout and resentment. They allow you to have your own life, your own interests, your own schedule, which, as we'll discuss later, is incredibly important. And when your children see that you respect your own time, energy, and needs, they are more likely to respect them too. This step is not about creating distance. It's about creating a healthier, more sustainable way of being connected. It requires courage, especially if you're used to putting everyone else's needs first. But it's a vital part of building a relationship based on mutual respect, where both parties feel valued and their individual lives are honored. It shifts the dynamic from one where you might feel taken advantage of or overlooked, to one where you are an equal adult with your own rights and needs. It's a powerful change, and it opens the door for the next crucial move in gaining respect, moving on from setting those crucial boundaries. The third powerful move is about shifting your focus from their problems to their successes, from your expectations to their experiences. It's about becoming genuinely interested in their lives, as they are now, without the filter of what you think they should be doing. This means actively listening, truly listening, to what they share with you, not listening to find a problem to solve, not listening to find an opening to offer advice, but simply listening to understand. Ask open-ended questions about their work, their hobbies, their friends, their dreams. What are they excited about? What are they learning? What challenges are they facing that they want to talk about? When they share something positive, celebrate it enthusiastically, even if it seems small to you. When they share a challenge, offer empathy and support rather than jumping in with solutions unless they explicitly ask for your advice. This is a subtle but profound shift. It shows them that you see them as capable adults, navigating their own path, and that you are there as a supportive presence, not a manager or a critic. Think about how it feels when someone you care about is genuinely interested in what's happening in your world, asking thoughtful questions and truly paying attention to the answers. It makes you feel valued, seen, and respected, doesn't it? You can do the same for your children. Put away distractions when you're talking. Make eye contact. Nod and offer verbal affirmations like, "Oh, that sounds interesting," or "Tell me more about that." Validate their feelings even if you don't agree with their choices. You can say, "That sounds really frustrating," or "I can see why you'd be excited about that," without having to endorse the situation itself. This kind of listening builds trust. When they feel heard and understood, they are more likely to open up to you, to share more deeply, and to value your presence in their lives. It's about appreciating who they are now, in their adult lives, with their own partners, their own children, their own careers, their own challenges and triumphs. It requires letting go of the image you might still hold of them as younger versions of themselves, or the life plan you might have envisioned for them. Respecting their autonomy and their individual journey is key. This step is about curiosity and connection, pure and simple. It's about enjoying their company and their stories, rather than focusing on how they measure up to some internal standard you hold. It's about being a safe space for them to share, knowing they won't be met with judgment or a lecture. Try setting aside dedicated time just for connecting. Maybe a phone call where the goal is just to catch up and listen, or a coffee date where you focus on asking them about their week. Make it about them, not about you. This genuine interest is incredibly powerful. It demonstrates that you respect their individuality and their life choices, even if they differ from your own. And when you show them that kind of respect, they are far more likely to extend respect back to you. It changes the dynamic from one where they might feel the need to defend themselves or hide things from you, to one where they feel accepted and appreciated for who they are. This builds a stronger, more authentic connection, which is the very foundation of mutual respect. It requires patience and practice, especially if the old patterns of interaction are deeply ingrained. But committing to genuinely listening and being interested in their world is a transformative step. And hand in hand with listening comes the fourth powerful move, showing vulnerability and admitting mistakes. Now, let's explore the fourth powerful move, showing vulnerability and being willing to admit when you've made a mistake. This can be a hard one, especially for a generation that was often taught to be strong and perhaps not show weakness. But there is immense strength and humility in being able to say, "I was wrong," or "I'm still learning," or "That was hard for me too." When you are willing to be vulnerable with your children, it helps them see you not just as the parent figure who always had all the answers, which, let's be honest, wasn't entirely true even when they were little, but as a fellow human being navigating life's complexities. This relatability is key to fostering an adult-to-adult relationship based on mutual respect. Think about it. Haven't you learned some of your most valuable lessons from your own mistakes, or from seeing others admit theirs? It's the same for them. Sharing a time you messed up and what you learned from it doesn't diminish you. It humanizes you. It shows that you are capable of growth and self-reflection. Perhaps you regret how you handled a certain situation when they were growing up. Or maybe you realize you overstepped a boundary recently, being able to say, "You know, looking back, I handled that situation with your father, mother poorly, and I learned a lot from it." Or, "I realize I might have overstepped by interfering with situation, and I apologize if that caused you stress." Can go a long way. An apology, when sincere and not followed by an excuse or justification, is incredibly powerful. It acknowledges their feelings and validates their perspective. It shows them that you value the relationship more than being right. This isn't about groveling or taking blame for everything. It's about taking responsibility for your own part in the dynamic. Vulnerability also means being willing to share appropriate aspects of your own struggles or challenges. This doesn't mean burdening them with all your worries, but perhaps sharing a challenge you're facing and how you're working through it, or admitting you don't have all the answers about something. For example, you might say, "I'm trying to figure out this new technology, and it's quite a challenge. Remember when you taught me how to use the internet?" Or, "Navigating retirement has had its ups and downs, and I'm still finding my footing." This kind of sharing invites connection and shows them that you trust them enough to be real with them. It breaks down the old hierarchy and creates a more level playing field for adult conversation. It also models important behavior, that it's okay to be imperfect, that it's okay to make mistakes, and that it's okay to not have everything figured out. This is especially valuable if your children are going through their own difficult times. Seeing you handle challenges or admit imperfections can give them permission to do the same. It fosters a sense of shared humanity and mutual understanding. This move requires courage and perhaps letting go of pride. It's about prioritizing connection and authenticity over maintaining an image of perfect parenthood. When you can be real and vulnerable with your children, it creates a deeper level of intimacy and trust. They are more likely to respect you not just for what you did for them when they were young, but for who you are as a person now, someone who is still learning, still growing, and capable of owning their imperfections. This builds a much stronger foundation for mutual respect and paves the way for perhaps the most impactful move of all, which we'll talk about next. Now, let's get to the fifth and possibly most powerful move you can make to gain respect from your children again. And this is where the surprise might come in for some. It's not directly about them at all. The fifth powerful move is to live your own vibrant, fulfilling life. Yes, you heard that right. The most attractive quality, the thing that often inspires the deepest respect from adult children, is seeing their parent happy, engaged, and independent. For decades, your life was likely largely centered around raising them, providing for them, worrying about them. That's a natural and beautiful part of being a parent. But as they move fully into their own adult lives, your role shifts. If you continue to hover, if your happiness seems solely dependent on their attention or their choices, it can create a heavy burden for them and a sense of neediness that is, frankly, not very inspiring. On the other hand, when they see you actively pursuing your own interests, maintaining your friendships, learning new things, contributing to your community, and genuinely enjoying your life. It changes everything. It shows them you are a whole person, with your own purpose and passions, independent of your identity as their parent. This is incredibly freeing for them, and it makes you far more interesting and appealing to be around. Think about it. Are you more drawn to someone who seems lonely and focused only on your life, or someone who is busy and happy with their own activities but makes time for you because they want to, not because they need to? When you have your own vibrant life, your interactions with your children shift. Conversations become more about sharing exciting things you're doing, rather than dwelling on their problems or your own worries. You become a source of inspiration and positive energy. You demonstrate that aging isn't about diminishing, but about continuing to grow and explore. How do you do this? It starts with identifying what brings you joy. What are your hobbies? What have you always wanted to learn? What causes do you care about? What physical activities do you enjoy? Make time for these things. Connect with friends your own age who share your interests. Join clubs. Take classes. Volunteer. Set goals for yourself that have nothing to do with your children. Maybe it's training for a walkathon, learning a new language, mastering a craft, traveling to a place you've always dreamed of, or dedicating time to a creative pursuit. When your children see you engaged and happy, it eases any potential guilt they might feel about living their own lives. It reassures them that you are okay, more than okay, that you are thriving. This independence is attractive. It shows strength and resilience. It shifts the dynamic from obligation to genuine connection. They will likely respect you immensely for continuing to grow and find joy. It's not about neglecting your family. It's about recognizing that the best way to be a supportive presence in their adult lives is to be a fulfilled person yourself. This is the surprise element, that the path to gaining respect from them is significantly paved by the respect and care you give to yourself and your own life. When you prioritize your well-being and pursue your passions, you become a magnet for positive connection. You're not waiting for them to fill your life. You're inviting them to share in the richness of the life you've created. This involves everything we've talked about: the self-awareness to know what you need, the boundaries to protect your time and energy for these pursuits, the genuine interest in others that keeps you connected to the world, and the vulnerability to try new things and maybe not be perfect at them. It all ties together. Rebuilding respect isn't about changing your children. It's about powerfully changing yourself and the dynamic of the relationship. It's about showing up as the best version of yourself, living a life that inspires you, and by extension, inspires them. When you focus on your own happiness and well-being, you demonstrate a level of self-respect that is inherently respectable, and that, perhaps more than anything else, is the key to unlocking a new level of mutual respect and a deeper, more joyful connection with your adult children. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes courage. But the rewards, a more authentic relationship, a more fulfilling life for you, and a renewed sense of connection and respect, are immeasurable. Remember, reclaiming that sense of respect and connection with your adult children isn't about turning back the clock or demanding that things go back to how they were. It's about moving forward, building a new kind of relationship based on mutual respect between adults. We talked about taking that crucial first step of looking inward, understanding our own patterns and expectations. We explored the power of setting healthy boundaries, not to push people away, but to create a framework for healthy interaction that respects everyone's space and independence. We discussed the importance of becoming genuinely interested in their lives, listening without judgment, and celebrating who they are now. And we touched on the strength found in vulnerability, in being real, and even admitting when you've stumbled. Finally, we dove into what might be the most impactful step of all cultivating your own rich and fulfilling life. When you focus on your own happiness, pursue your passions, and maintain your independence, you become an inspiration. You show your children and yourself that you are a vibrant, capable individual with valuable experiences and a life worth living fully, independent of your role as a parent. These steps aren't quick fixes. They are ongoing practices. There will be ups and downs, moments of misunderstanding, and times when progress feels slow. Be patient with yourself and with them. Every small step you take towards self-awareness, healthier boundaries, genuine connection, vulnerability, and living your own life is a step towards a stronger, more respectful relationship. Your value isn't determined by how much your children need you or how often they call. Your value is inherent by focusing on what you can control, your own actions, attitudes, and well-being. You create the space for the relationship to evolve positively. You are demonstrating self-respect, and that is the most powerful way to invite respect from others. Don't be discouraged if things don't change overnight. Keep putting these practices into action. Keep living your life fully. Keep reaching out from a place of love and genuine interest. Share your experiences, both the joys and the challenges, in a way that invites connection. You have so much wisdom and love to offer. And there is absolutely a way to share that in a way that is welcomed and valued in this new chapter of your relationships. Your children love you, even if they struggle to show it in the ways you might expect or desire. By focusing on your own growth and happiness, you create a more positive and attractive energy that can naturally draw them closer. Remember, small changes in your approach can make a significant difference in the dynamic. You are capable of building beautiful, respectful relationships at any age. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences on this. Have you tried any of these steps? What challenges have you faced? Or what successes have you had? Share in the comments below. Your insights could help someone else. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It helps me know what kind of content you appreciate. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel for more tips and encouragement on living your best life at every age. You are strong, you are resilient, and you deserve to have fulfilling relationships. Keep focusing on living your best life, and the respect will follow.